Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's been some time since my last video, 6 months to be exact, and for the most part I've been following Wim Hof almost every day, and as well as that I've also been following a keto diet, as you may recall. So I thought I'd give you an update to let you know on how I'm traveling and what things I've noticed and what suggestions I might have for you. So the first thing to say is with Wim Hof, it was interesting early on in the piece. I got from 2 minutes to 2 minutes 20 and then 2 minutes 30, sometimes even 2 minutes 35 on the out breath hold. And I've been practicing the 30 breaths with 3 repetitions of each. And I haven't really noticed that my breath hold has improved much since then. In fact, some days I barely make 2 minutes, and other days I go to 2:30. So on average, I'd say 2 minutes 15 seconds on the out breath, and that seems to have been a bit of a plateau and is fairly consistent. I'm not unhappy with it, but I would have thought that by now I would have improved on that, maybe held for 3 minutes or something like that. So I'll certainly be giving you feedback over time. I have looked at a couple of YouTube videos where there were 5 repetitions, 5 sets that is. I've looked at ones that had 40 breaths and 60 breaths. Not sure I'm ready to graduate to that yet, but I'm certainly finding with the 30 breath repetitions, I'm certainly not getting dizzy anymore. I'm not getting lightheaded. I don't find the kinds of reactions that I did when I first started Wim Hof. So perhaps that's a sign of adaptation that is making me ready to move on to more breath holds or more time. So in terms of keto, I've been fairly consistent with keto. You may notice, you may not, I've lost about 10 kilos, 10 or 11 kilos since probably my last video. And so I'm quite happy with that. I'm probably the lightest I've been in 20-25 years, which is a target that exceeded my expectations. I'm still gunning for an extra 3 or 4 kilos, and I think that's eminently doable. But I'm combining this with intermittent fasting at the moment. And the intermittent fasting, I'm only doing 3 days a week. So Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, simply out of convenience and work-related issues. I don't have any breakfast in the morning. I might have a coffee, a bulletproof coffee perhaps, with my partner in the morning. And then after I go to a gym workout, I might have some lunch and some vitamin supplements with that as well. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays and weekends, I don't do intermittent fasting. I just eat as normal. But I pretty much practice keto now full time. So have I had any cheats in the meantime? Yes, Christmas came along. And I have to say though, it wasn't much cheating. I'd have a bit of cake or, you know, a piece of chocolate or something along those lines. And one of the interesting observations I had when that would happen is within the next couple of hours I'd usually get a bit of epigastric bloating, which is bloating in this sort of region down here, and that would create a firmness and just a feeling of discomfort which would last me, you know, until the next day. Another thing I might report in that instance is sometimes I'd feel my aches and pains come back. For example, the heel pain that I'd had for some time, and just general backache. I felt stiffer and tighter and a little bit more inflammation than what I had been for some time. So keto definitely is doing its job for me in terms of my aches and pains, in terms of my weight loss. Now, the one thing to really mention that I think is important here is energy levels and performance. People talk about the Quito Flu, which is a combination of symptoms that might include lethargy, sense of weakness, even mental symptoms. There's just a sense of malaise and unwellness, lack of energy. And I certainly experienced that, not perhaps to the levels that I've seen some vloggers discuss, but I certainly felt weaker in the gym. I would say my weight routine would be 20% down, 30% down at some points. So yes, energy wise, I lost a lot. Mood wise, no. Mood wise, I felt fine. Work performance wise, I felt fine. General energy levels a little bit flatter than normal. But the important thing to take away is it's taken me a good 4 or 5 months, I think, for that to settle. And there's a perception, especially when we call it the Quito Flu, that it should come and go within a couple of weeks and you should be fine. I have heard 1 or 2 YouTube bloggers mention it might take a month or 2. But quite frankly, in my case, it took the better part of 6 months. Why would it take so long? Maybe it's just the kind of diet and lifestyle that you live and have lived for decades probably will take some months to repair. From what I've also read, it does take a whole cellular change for you to better metabolize ketones. In other words, the mitochondrial mechanisms, the little organelles in your cells that burn that energy, you have to develop them. And it's not just a matter of a couple of weeks. You know, it may well take months and months of adherence to that lifestyle for your whole body to change and be able to process. And so if you don't have the mitochondria, the organelles, to consume and generate that energy, then you know you may be flat for some time. So my encouragement to you is, if you've started keto and you're not feeling so hot and it's been some weeks and it's not going away, don't worry. Quitting never fixed anything, so keep persisting, keep working at it, maintain what you're doing, and you're going to find at some point, maybe like me, 5 or 6 months down the track, your energy levels start to pick up again. So now I'm back in the gym and I'm actually starting to lift the kind of weights I did before I started doing keto. And you might think, gee, that's 6 months of stagnated gym progress. Who knows where I could be if I didn't do keto? Well, the fact is that you're making a lifestyle change. And so in my particular case, now I'm back to where I feel I need to be. And I think the progress is going to improve. I do remember watching a video once by a PhD scientist who was saying that they were looking at keto athletes and found that their performance had similarly decreased. And so the conclusion was that keto is inappropriate for athletes. And I remember him saying that the reason for that was that it takes some time to overcome that keto flu, and it takes 6 weeks minimum for them to pick up. And when they actually apparently that was his PhD thesis, they studied athletes over 3 months or so and found that in those cases now their performance matched and started to exceed where they were before. So be patient is the take-home message. It could take you a few weeks, it could take you a few months, it could take you half a year, but the results will come. And you need to be patient and just keep plugging along, knowing that you're doing the right thing for your body. Certainly in my case, you know, the aches and pains have gone away. I've shed fat reserves. I should say I have hit a plateau with that too. So while I'm still looking to lose another 4 kilos-ish, it's been a real struggle with that. So what I've started to do is take on a personal trainer, and I'll give you a little bit of a talk about that later on, just to see if I can be pushed beyond my my capacity and see if I can shave off another couple of kilos there. Not just for the kilo's sake, but for fitness levels. So I'll talk a little bit about that too, and in another video. So thank you for bearing with me. Hope you enjoyed the scenery, and I look forward to seeing you on the next talk. Once again, thank you for being with me, and we'll see you next time.